Hey, come see us in Ashland, Virginia, Athens, Georgia, Rutherford, New Jersey at the Icarus Festival, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. So get this, war crime, this is in the AP. War crimes prosecutor seeks to arrest of Israeli and Hamas leaders, including Netanyahu. That's the International Criminal Court, right? So here is what Jackson Hinkle tweeted out. Israel's Netanyahu says charging me for crimes in Gaza is like charging George Bush for 9/11. That sounds like a good idea.
Great.
Yeah. Are we going to do that? Because that would be fantastic.
Oh, maybe he means charging for crimes in Gaza like charging Bush 9/11 because I'm also responsible for 9/11.
That's right.
It's unfair.
Well, that would be like revealing the Epstein client list. We can't do that.
Whoa.
Right?
The James Bond of Israel?
So here we go.
He's creating a false symmetry between the democratically elected leaders of Israel and the terrorist chieftains. That's like saying after 9/11, well, I'm issuing arrest warrants for George Bush, but also for bin Laden. Or after in World War II, well, I'm issuing arrest warrants for FDR, but also for Hitler. It's a hit job. It's not serious. He's out to defame Israel, and he's also pouring gasoline on the fires of anti-Semitism that are spreading around the world because he is attacking the.
Could the term anti-Semitism be more discredited? It is going to mean absolutely nothing. It's very close to being absolutely nothing right now, which is funny that RFK Jr. is still afraid of being called one because it doesn't mean anything. You know what being called an anti-Semitic means? It means you're telling the truth about Israel right now. That's what it means. It means you're against slaughtering children. That's what being called I'm an anti.
Who are also Semites, by the way.
Who are also Semites.
All the Palestinians are Semites.
That's right. So, by the way, George Bush and Dick Cheney are supposed to be in prison. They're supposed to be in prison because they ordered a torture program to cover up an illegal war they lied us into. And everybody knows it.
And only Jewish state and trying to handcuff us, preventing us from exercising responsible.
Preventing us from slaughtering en masse women and children.
How about if you just pay for it yourself, motherfucker?
Yeah, how about you just pay for it yourself?
It's not really handcuffs to not pay for you to do that, right?
Through the laws of war, as we obey them and we are subordinate to them, he's saying we're not. He's creating false symmetry, false facts, and he's doing a grave injustice.
They are systematically targeting civilians. That's what's happening in Gaza. Now, a lot of people are okay with that because they say, hey, we did that in World War II. And then we had the Geneva Convention to make sure shit like that wasn't ever supposed to happen again. And if you did that kind of stuff, you were the worst criminal in the world. Now, again, I don't support Hamas. You know who supports Hamas? That guy. He gave them suitcases full of cash constantly. Why? Because he wanted them to finally attack Israel so he could use that attack on October 7th as a pretext for taking Gaza and the West Bank. Something they've had a plan for a long, long time.
By the way, you get the hostages back anytime by having had that ceasefire and that exchange.
That's right. They
could have got the hostages back. They don't want the hostages back because they're going to sacrifice them for the good of the state.
That's right.
International court.
So, and we should charge Bush for 9/11. So that sounds good to me. Correction, charging you with the crimes in Gaza is like charging George Bush with crimes in Iraq. That's what it's like. That's what it's like. And hey, by the way, wasn't Benjamin Netanyahu being constantly protested against in Israel? 40 weeks before October 7th, they were in the streets protesting against Benjamin Netanyahu for taking away Israel's democracy and their court by packing it with Likud cuckoos.
Worse than Likud, actually. I forgot how it was just on the edge of toppling over because he had pulled, let's say, a little bit more than a Trump-like move with their government, and then now we got to stand behind this guy. Just like George W. Bush. He was a big dum-dum, but now we got to stand behind him.
God himself could come down and smite Benjamin Netanyahu for what he's doing in Gaza, and he would say God's anti-Semitic.
Yeah. Well,
God is creating a false narrative. Hassan Mafi says, Netanyahu says arresting him for war crimes after October 7th is like arresting George Bush for war crimes after 9/11. I actually agree with him here. Both of them should be arrested for war crimes. Also, arrest Joe Biden for enabling genocide. And if you don't think that Benjamin Netanyahu is the terrorist, just like the United States is the terrorist in Libya, we were the terrorists in Iraq, we were the terrorists in Yemen and Somalia, Afghanistan for 20 years, we were the terrorists. Just like we're funding the terrorist Israel. What? Listen to him here. Here's he's going to tell you what is a terrorist.
What terrorists do is target the innocent deliberately, and therefore my definition of terrorism is the systematic and deliberate attack, the murder, maiming, and menacing of innocents, civilians, for political goals.
That's exactly what he's doing in Gaza and the West Bank right now.
To not go to prison himself.
They're attacking innocents and civilians for a political end.
You know he's being protested in Israel right now.
Right now.
Currently, you're just not seeing it here. You actually could get more reliable information about Israel from Israel-run news than you can from American news. You'll get more objective about what Israel's doing. Can you believe that? I mean, that's the most mind-blowing thing to me.
The reason why he's up there fitching away like this is because Israel has a civil war going on that they don't want us to know about, but it's getting to be obvious now. There are too many smart people there that don't want to be associated with what's happening, and they're not going to let themselves be dragged down by people like Benjamin Netanyahu.
You know, 30% were going to leave Israel. Because don't forget, just like North Korea, like that guy told us how great North Korea is. There's a thing, well, you can't leave, we're at war. You got to stay here. And a bunch of people didn't want to. This is going to be real bad. It's going to break Israel apart completely in the end.
I agree with you. Here we're on tour in Ashland, Virginia, Athens, Georgia, Rutherford, New Jersey, Minneapolis, Ontario, California, Las Vegas, Chicago, Illinois, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.